Prison of comfort. A prison of excuses. A prison where mediocrity feels safe because it doesn't ask for sacrifice. It doesn't demand risk. It doesn't require the uncomfortable confrontation with greatness that whispers in the silence, "You were meant for more." But here's the truth: greatness is not inherited. It's not reserved for the lucky. It's carved from bone and sweat, from late nights and lonely mornings, from the invisible battles that no one claps for. And that's exactly why most people will never be great. Because greatness costs everything that mediocrity lets you keep. They want results without struggle, titles without toil, wealth without worth. They forget that Henry Ford was mocked as a fool before he transformed the world. That Abraham Lincoln lost more elections than he won before he changed the course of a nation. That Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before the light bulb lit the future. And in every one of those stories, there's one common thread: they kept going when others quit. Not because they knew it would work, but because quitting was never on the table. Most people? They build their lives on what's convenient. The great? They build theirs on what's necessary. Greatness begins in the mind, long before it's seen by the world. Most people don't fail because they're incapable. They fail because they've been hypnotized by a lie that success is for them, not for me. They look in the mirror and see a worker, a struggler, a survivor, not a builder, not a creator, not a force of nature. But belief is the root of every empire. What you believe about yourself determines what you allow yourself to attempt. The mind, like soil, doesn't care what seed you plant. It will grow weeds or wealth, depending on what you feed it. The masses feed theirs with fear, distraction, doubt. They let opinions shape identity. They let failure become prophecy. They hear no once and build a religion out of rejection. But those destined for greatness? They believe when there's no reason to. They plant vision where others plant limits. They don't wait for proof, they become the proof. Most people never rise because they never decide what they're willing to die for. They drift. They dabble. They live like leaves in the wind, pushed by opinion, carried by trends, paralyzed by options. But greatness demands clarity. It demands a vision so sharp it cuts through distraction like steel through fog. Think of Walt Disney. A man who envisioned a world that didn't yet exist and was nearly laughed into bankruptcy. But he saw it before it was real. That's what vision does. It creates reality from imagination. It demands faith, then rewards it with form. And that's why most people will never be great, because they never define a vision clear enough to endure the pain it will require. They settle for vague hopes. I want more. I want success. But the great say, I will build this. I will become this. I will not stop until the world echoes what I already know to be true. Purpose is the oxygen of persistence. And most people are suffocating. They wake up with alarms, not with meaning. They chase money, not mission. They confuse comfort with happiness, and they rot in routines that slowly poison the soul. But purpose? Purpose is different. Purpose keeps the fire lit when the spotlight dies. Purpose doesn't flinch when the results don't show up. Purpose is why Carnegie kept building when he could have retired 10 times over. Why Helen Keller changed the world in silence and darkness. Why Mandela stayed unbroken through decades of prison. Because when you have a reason to rise, nothing can keep you down. Most people will never be great because they're not willing to search deep enough to find the thing they would bleed for. They chase goals to impress, not missions to embody. But you, if you're still here, you know there's something burning. Something deeper. You know comfort is a cage. And you're ready to trade ease for elevation. Here's the raw truth: emotion doesn't build empires, discipline does. Most people will never be great because they only move when they feel like it. They wait for motivation, as if the world will pause until their feelings align. But success doesn't wait. Success punishes hesitation. It honors action. Discipline is the bridge between desire and reality. It's waking up when it's dark and silent. It's working when the applause has stopped. It's showing up, again and again, when nothing is guaranteed. Jocko Willink said it best, discipline equals freedom. And yet most people think discipline is a prison. They think it's restrictive. They don't see that it's the tool that sharpens potential into power. Discipline is the reason some people transform and others just talk. The world is full of dreamers. But dreamers without discipline are just drifters, sailing nowhere, slowly dying in their own comfort. You want greatness? Get to work.